All right, so we're going to talk about a hot topic right now. Next one is what to think or how to think. So, how do we start teaching our kids to be independent thinkers? So, some would say just teach them how to think, not what to think. Well, that is a really nice, ambiguous statement, right? How do we actually do it? So, there's got to be some method. We do want our kids to know how to think, but this is the end result. So, one of my favorite podcasters always says that kids need to know what to think first. And he's not wrong. And if we go back to the trivia, where the first stage is amassing information, you can see how true that is. So you need to start with what to think. Kids can't reach the point of how to think without first amassing knowledge and facts. So in order to understand complex equations, they first need to know that 2 plus 2 equals 4, and then they can build from there. But the end result in all this knowledge is to know how to think. So these two ideas, they need to work together and not in opposition of each other. So kids don't group think. Like if we don't want the kids to group think, then they need to know what to think and how to think, and they need to work together. You start with what to think and you build on it to eventually get to how to think. All right. So let's talk about low information individuals. So groupthink is very prevalent among low information people. And these are people who typically stick with the headlines for all of their information. They really never crack a book with anything meaningful in it. Okay? So they may be reading other things, but I'm talking about meaningful topics. So if you want to banish groupthink and teach your kids to be independent thinkers, then you need to teach them to be high information people. So this means reading a lot and reading from a number of sources. So my son actually brought me this book that was part of his Sunlight curriculum. And I will say this, I was extremely disappointed that Sunlight had included this in their American history curriculum. It was so blatantly misleading with the facts that I'm just looking at the first 2 chapters. And so just from the first 2 chapters, I'm needing to explain context around the facts that were being presented. And he is a low information person. So because he's a high school student, a lot of times information will get generated just from experience and, age. And so me, who's more of a high information person, because I've read for years now, was able to just break these things down and explain why what was presented as facts was so misleading and out of context. So again, like I said, I was extremely disappointed that Sunlight would have such a blatantly misleading book as part of the high school American history curriculum. So there was that. So you have to teach your kids to be high information individuals. So moving on. That was free. That one was free.